Hey guys, welcome. I hope that makes it in there. Hey guys, welcome to the. My name's Luke Truk and this is Lee Shelton coming to you again for another weekly podcast. Today we're going to be talking about hiring a marketing team. What does that look like? When should you start looking for that kind of a person?
So this is one that could come across as a little bit self-serving because
we're talking about ourselves,
right? Well, it's easy. You know, you see these businesses. Sometimes they'll
just
put
a little innocent plug right here. Online Edge, we can help you with everything digital marketing. Okay, all right.
You see these companies and they put up these checklists, and it's like all the things that they put up to check off.
It's all things they do.
Everything they do it,
Yeah.
and then then it's like our competition, and it's like, oh my gosh, they're missing like 2/3 of the stuff. Well, if their competition put it up, they would put different things up there.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, there are teams that specialize in certain things and teams that specialize in other things.
Yeah.
And so, you know, when you're sitting down talking to people, you want to make sure that you are finding the best fit for your business. You know, some obvious out the door upfront stuff to consider is their experience. So have they worked with somebody similar to you before? Have they worked with somebody who you think that their knowledge in that industry would translate well over to your industry? Maybe they've never worked in your industry before, but you're like, yeah, but they've had success here and here and here. They'd be able to serve. They'd be able to serve me. Another one was going to be price, obviously. So there's agencies out there that won't talk to you unless they're going to be able to bill $1 million a year. And so if that's something that's like, hey, we're not even in the ballpark of that, then those are people not to talk to. And then there's people who are going to be charging so little that you start asking how they're able to do that. And a lot of times that's
the thing, they can't.
Well, they can't. So what ends up happening usually is they try to automate a bunch of stuff, and you're basically signing up for some kind of a subscription, and you want to ask those types of questions up front because they will oftentimes present themselves as this full service vendor, and in reality, everything is kind of run by a program. And if you're running advertisements, for instance, by a automated program, then you're not going to have successful ads.
Yeah.
So those are the types of things to ask. Another thing that's just kind of get it out of the way up front. Here's something to consider very, very quickly is are you able to talk with anybody, or would you be able to get a reference from them? And if they're not confident enough to be able to give you anybody that they work with as a reference, then where you're able to jump on a phone call with that person or email back and forth with that person a little bit to ask a few questions, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
So
either they don't have any clients or
they don't have any clients or they don't have anybody who they're confident to be able to put in front of you. And so all that being said, marketing companies are in a unique position. It is very much a consistent relationship that they're part of your team. So they need to be able to ask the right questions to understand culturally who you are. So if you're on a phone call with somebody and it becomes all about them and there's very little or to nothing about you, that's a red flag as well. It's probably a very cookie cutter strategy at that point.
One shop stop. Everybody gets into the same mold.
Right. It's
an HVAC company is going to be running the same type of ads as a doctor. Right. And we see that. And that's a big problem.
We see that very, very regularly. So Luke, I want to, just for a second, I want you to, we're going to give a condensed version of what a phone call would look like of how curious we are. And again, this isn't pitching our services necessarily. I hope you do.
But it is. Wink, wink.
I hope that you do. I hope that we do serve our clients well. And I hope that we do get people as a result of that. And we do. We get people call us. We get referrals on a very, very regular basis. That's a
big part of our business.
It's a huge part of how we grow our business
at this point.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but this would be kind of regardless if you're not ready to hire on a marketing company, but maybe 6 months from now or a year from now, but you're already kind of thinking, what are some things that I'd be looking for? How would I look to add to the team? That kind of stuff. So we're going to do a almost a role play. I hate that word, but a role play conversation real quick, just so you can get an idea of what that would look like. So Luke, you call me and you're interested in some services. So you don't have to pretend anything right now, but just like, hey, you got some experience in landscaping. So let's just kind of take it from that perspective. And I'm going to start asking some questions because at this point, I want to kind of give you a brief overview of what we do.
Yep.
And then I'm interviewing you.
There have been times in the past that we've referred people out just because it hasn't been the right fit.
Right.
And that's actually us serving our client.
Exactly right.
That person the highest, because we wouldn't be able to give them the right outcome.
All right. So you call me, I'm answering the phone. Hey, this is Lee, Online Edge. Hey, this is Luke with, I own a landscaping company, and looking to do some marketing.
Okay. Boom.
There we go. I gave both sides of that. So, okay.
Did it.
So great, Luke. So tell me a little bit about your company. What's the radius in which you guys serve? What are you hoping to get out of marketing?
Yeah. So great question. We primarily serve McKinney.
Okay.
That's for the lawn maintenance side of things. So anybody that's a lawn maintenance customer, we're only going to pick them up if they're pretty much within the McKinney radius. And we service everything in Collin County for the design install space.
Okay.
And so that's basically what that looks like.
The design install space is going to be a little bit higher end than just the maintenance side of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it sounds like you've got some teams
higher
household income.
Okay.
Yep. So what we would look to do at that point is make sure that we're picking the platforms that your prospective clients are going to be on.
Okay.
We're not going to be jumping all over the place and like trying to recreate the wheel. With the household income that you're talking about, what are we looking at? Maybe 150,000 plus a year income.
We're probably looking at $250,000 to 500,000.
There we go. Okay. So great. So in this area, there's plenty there's, you got some good pull there. There's some really good potential clients, especially if we're able to draw a circle that big.
Sure.
I've got a lot of clients, not one in this space, but a lot of clients in the Collin County area. And so it's an area I'm pretty familiar with for a number of reasons already. If it wasn't, then we would, and we still will, but if it wasn't, we'd be doing a lot of research on the front end of things before we started running a single ad, because we're going to want to make sure that we're not throwing money away as in testing that I could have just found out in research.
Interesting.
Making sure that we're hitting the right household income.
Let me ask you this question. Will you be able to target anybody that we are already servicing? So like say we come in, drop in on a street, we do one house. Would you be able to target the people that are directly around that house? So that was
the very next thing I was going to say. If you have projects that you're already like, man, we'd be super proud of, we could actually use photos and hit neighbors where they're exactly right. So you'd hit neighbors where they've already seen that. They're driving down the street. They're seeing something that they're familiar with already. And so we're getting in front of those people with a message that you could help them as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So then from this point, break character for a second. From this point, I'm going to ask budget questions. I'm going to make sure that we don't ever try to stress our clients' budgets out.
No, but you also can't start with like a $200 budget.
But so we just have honest conversations though. So if somebody says, here's what always happens. What should my budget be? We're gonna factor in how many people they're trying to reach, what the actual area pull is. So if you live in a county,
it's not a cookie cutter response either. You know what I mean?
Our county is 1 million people.
Yeah.
So if somebody else's county is 100,000 people, that's a small county.
Sure.
So
doesn't need as much.
They don't need as much. They don't need as much budget at that point. Competition's lower. There's a million reasons why they don't need as much budget at that point. So for most of our clients, if you're a small business, we don't make money based on how much you spend.
Yeah.
We did that intentionally so that we are never incentivized to tell you something there's
not
never an
beneficial
incentive,
for you.
right? We're not, us serving you well is how we keep you as a client. It's not man, if we could get them to spend a little bit more this month, then we'd make this much. We don't do the percentage thing. Now, when you get into larger businesses, you have to do it that way because there's going to be a month where they spend $250,000.
It's going to take twice as much work to manage,
or
all that
10
stuff.
times as much work to manage in some cases.
But 90% of our social clients are on the
correct
side of things where we don't
correct. So if you
recommend anything more than what you really need to spend to target
Exactly
what you
right.
need.
If you spend $800 one month or $3,000 the next month, for us, it's going
Our
to be
management fees the same price.
It's the same charge. We're going to pull some data to see, okay, how many people fall within that 250 to 500,000 in of that million people, because it's not going to be. I mean, that just made the pool a lot smaller.
Sure.
Which the benefit of making the pool a lot smaller is being able to hyper target at that point. We know who we're getting in front of at that point. So I'm asking those types of questions. Now, as soon as we get finished with that end of stuff, I'm going to start to talk to him a little bit about what we do, some experience that we have that I think would be beneficial at that point. If we have some, and in this case, we would have experience that would be beneficial. First of all, my knowledge of the area. Second of all, other clients that we've served that would be
within the same.
It'd be the demographics
within the same area, same demographics,
Right.
but different industry.
So we have exactly right. So I have a number of clients right now, same area, and would have said, 250 to 500,000 household income.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, great. So now we're on the same page. I've got some experience in that stuff, so we can start talking to that. So now I'm going to start asking some branding questions at this point. Okay. So Luke, we're wanting to get in front of these people as far as the landscaping side of stuff is concerned. Do you already have some content, that kind of thing, built out?
You know, we've got pictures of projects that we've done, like before and after pictures and stuff like that, but nothing. I don't know exactly what you're looking for, but that's about all we have right now.
Yeah. So what I'd want to do from there, like we can have some discussions about some other things, potentially creating something if we feel like we need it. I'd love to take a look at what you already have, because the before and after is a powerful image. There's a reason why that's been used in marketing for a long, long, long time. And so I'd love to kind of see what you have there so that we can see, hey, is this something we feel confident moving forward with? Because we've already have content built out.
Sure.
No reason to spend more money in that area. We can keep going. If you're not confident in the content, no big deal. Let's talk that through and make sure that we get something for you that you're going to be proud of to represent you, and we feel like is going to really bring in the target audience. Okay.
Awesome.
So as far as the brand itself is concerned, how do you want to present yourself?
As the leading provider in the lawn care install space.
Okay. So let's get a little bit more specific than that. So now I'm going to break again. Now I'm going to make sure that we kind of drill down a little bit into this, because his answer, and he did it on purpose, but it was a pretty broad answer.
Yeah.
And he knows this is every time we talk about somebody to a client, we're going to get 99.9% of the time. Well, I'm the best, or we're the leaders, or whatever. So we're going to get a super.
I don't even know if you can say that it is literally every client we talk to. They always say, I am the best. Like, we are the best in the business. And it's like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like,
right. So
we can't say that because everybody says that.
Right. So we drill down. Yeah. The best diner coffee in the world, like every time, world's greatest cup of coffee. It's like, that's been done at this point, and it's pretty clear that's probably not the case. So all that being said, at that point, I'm going to drill down, and we're not walking through a branding session. That's a separate concept. But what I do want to do is drill down, get to know him a little bit more, and get to know really at the end of the day, here's what I'm trying to do. And with Luke, I know how he thinks about how he thought about landscaping clients when he was in that space. He was like, man, I want to give to them. I want to help them create this environment that's something that they're proud to invite friends and family over to,
make memories in.
Exactly right. It's this picturesque place that man, they might have had in their heart for a long time to do. They've gotten to the point where they can do it, and Luke wants to help make those dreams a reality.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm pulling that stuff out. And I'm like, oh man, we got some copy to work with now for some advertisements.
It's funny that he says that. It's because he's heard me talk about this stuff so much that he's actually able to talk as me.
Yes.
But
so there's some quoting happening here retroactively, and it's making me look like a mind reader. So I'd prefer you not saying that.
Sorry. He's a mind reader.
So, but it can feel like that at some points. Like I have clients kind of.
Oh, we just had this. It happened last week where a client was like, Lee's going to talk about this for a minute because he has the best understanding of what. We really get to that point with clients, or we really at least try to, and that's how we can serve people the best, is when we actually have so much knowledge about their space that we can talk as if we're them,
right? Or
they say, well, just refer to.
Well, I can't. What I'm trying to do in that moment is understand their concept, their dream well enough to be able to articulate it in terms. That because they got it in their heads and they've got it in their hearts, and sometimes how to verbalize it is difficult.
Articulating that's definitely a lot harder.
That's a huge part of what I do.
Yeah.
Is okay, let's take that story and put it in terms that's gonna make sense in the head and pull on the heart to get customers or clients activated and moving in their direction. So I'm actively listening. This is before you're a client. Like we're talking at this point, but I'm actively listening. I don't go into sales mode. That's just not who we are. We want to make sure that our client knows. And if we have a sales process, it's me making sure, I actually do care about your business and I want your business to succeed.
Yeah.
That's who we are. And if you resonate with that and that makes sense and everything else makes sense, our plan moving forward makes sense, then we're going to get along really, really, really well.
And we're going to have long-lasting clients, and they're going to love us, and we're going to love them. And
if it doesn't, I get it, and no problem. You didn't hear something that moved you, and there's somebody else, that's gonna be a better fit to the team. That's no big deal. No harm, no foul.
Yeah.
We're good. And sometimes we get a call 6 months later from that, like, oh, we went with this person because they were cheaper, and my gosh, it didn't work out. Yeah. So that happens right, left, and sideways.
Yep.
So all that being said, so now I'm making sure, yes, that we're kind of articulating a little bit of what we're doing, but I want to listen a lot because I'm going to get nuggets that if you do become a client, in that first conversation, how you were presenting yourself as a first impression, I'm going to get stuff that I wouldn't have gotten 2-3 calls later. It just doesn't work like that sometimes.
Right.
And so I'm taking vicious notes, making sure that I'm getting this. I'm trying to kind of frame it up of here's what I think you're saying at this point, that kind of stuff. And then we're able to move forward. So as you're interviewing people, make sure they are not just presenting all the stuff that they do. You need to know that, right? Like you need to know everything they do, what they're capable of, all that kind of stuff. That's important. But make sure they actually care about what you do and that's coming across, because it happened by accident. That wasn't a strategy of ours. Like, we got to make sure our client understands. We do it intentionally now because it's like, oh no, that does make a lot of sense. But it happened by accident because at the end of the day, we do actually want our clients to succeed.
Yeah.
Our business is to make sure that our client's business succeeds.